Hello everyone. In my last video, I told you where our office is located here in Canby and our other office locations. I let you know that we're here in our Canby office every Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and we're here specifically to meet with you and to help you with your real estate needs, both here locally or anywhere throughout the state of Oregon or Washington. If your intent is to move to another area, possibly another state, come on in and talk to us, and we can find a real estate broker in that area who will work with you and get you the right property for you. I also ask that you come see us and explain briefly what we can do for you when you do come into our office and meet with us, or when we talk with you on the telephone. As a result of that video, I got a lot of comments and questions, both buyer and seller questions about real estate in general and the real estate transaction process. So as a result, over the next few videos, I'm going to answer those questions and other questions, and I'll offer what I believe is information necessary for you as a buyer and seller to know when you enter into a real estate transaction, or if you're planning to enter into one in the future. If you're thinking about doing a for sale by owner transaction, this information will be useful and probably save you some time and money. I'm going to publish one video every Friday night, Saturday morning, since we're here over the weekends, over the next several weeks. Because of the amount of information covered on each subject, or that can be covered on each subject, each video will focus on a single subject. Here's a list of 5 topics I'll cover in the next few weeks. Keep in mind, every real estate transaction is unique, so it's important that every client get involved doing their own due diligence. Your real estate broker, of course, is there to advise and to help keep you on track to meet various timelines and requirements and so on. This information is designed to provide buyers and sellers of real estate things that you should know when you're involved in a real estate transaction. And finally, this should not be considered legal or financial advice. What's discussed in these videos is based on my personal learning and my own experience. So here's a couple of things that I'll cover in the next videos. First of all is contracts. There are 3 contracts used in most real estate transactions, and I'll discuss each type of contract, the parties that are involved in each one of these contracts, its specific purpose, and I'll also go through the details of each contract, highlighting those things that each participant should know and understand. In the second video, we'll go over buying and selling residential real estate. I'll list the necessary steps involved in nearly every real estate transaction and touch on the importance of each. I'll also talk about timelines, paperwork, and some things to know like disclosures and financial considerations that you'll want to know right up front. And then, of course, I'll go into specific seller information to know and specific buyer information to know. In my third video, I am going to discuss buying and selling rural real estate or land. Buying and selling rural real estate is much the same as buying property in town, but there's several more things to consider and a little more paperwork. So I'll discuss wells and water, both residential and irrigation wells, and their use and the testing of them and so on. We'll talk about irrigation. There's a lot of things to cover on irrigation. Is there in-ground irrigation? Is it above-ground irrigation? Is there irrigation at all? Septic systems. You're on rural property, so there's probably not city or county lines running down the middle of the road. Zoning is an important issue in rural property, specifically if you're on EFU, exclusive farm use property, or you're in forest land. So we'll cover some of the issues related to zoning. Property valuation on rural property is different than property valuation of a typical home within city limits. It usually is usually a different type of appraiser. It's a little more expensive to do a farm, ranch, or acreage appraisal because there's a lot of components and there's not a lot of comparable properties right next door or just down the road that you can compare to it. So there's a few things to know about the valuation and what determines value on property with acreage. Water rights and water usage. These are important things if, in fact, you have acreage and you intend to grow something or you need irrigation. And of course, there needs to be, you have to have water rights. There's a certificate of water rights, and that transfers with the land. It doesn't stay with the owner. And you also have to have a water usage permit. The water usage, the water rights gives you the right to use water, to access water from wherever you're going to access it, via a well, or it could be a river, or stream, or something of that nature. Water usage is going to tell you how much water you can use within a period of time and for how long you can use it throughout the year. And so then there's also property lines and soil types. Property lines are important. I think I had easements in here. Here we go. Easements and property line. Easements are important to understand. Are there easements? What are those easements for? If your property happens to sit back off the road and you have to cross someone else's property to get to yours, there may be an easement in place. If not, that's something that needs to be discussed and determined. Easements need to be signed, or a written up document, and signed and agreed to and signed by both parties, or all the necessary parties, and recorded. It has to be recorded. So easements are important. Property lines are important. Again, you're on rural property, there's a lot of acreage. Sometimes property lines get a little uncertain. So you want to make certain that your neighbors understand the property lines. I had one situation where I was representing the buyer of some property, and that person wanted me to write up a document and go to each of the neighbors, touching the different sides of his property to make sure that they understood and agreed to it. That was not normal, but again, it happens. Certainly in rural properties. And then finally we'll cover things such as a building permit. So you want to buy some property that's got acreage, and it may or may not have a residence on it. You want to build a home there. If it's EFU or if it's forest land property, you have to get the approval of the county that you're living in. And if there's not previously an approved building permit, in other words, a permit to allow you to build a residence, then you have to go through a process set up by each county to be able to get that. Can you get it? Yes, you probably can, but you have to provide them with certain information, and that takes some time. So it's understanding that process, knowing how to go about it, and then of course your real estate broker will advise and help you through that process. The fourth video is preparing the property to sell. So getting the highest value in the short amount of time is probably the objective of almost any seller I've ever spoken to. I want this much money, and I want to get it sold quickly. And so that's a conversation that we have when we first meet. Having that conversation, I think it's important for sellers to rely on the information that a real estate broker can bring to them. And why is that? Well, because real estate brokers are in and out of hundreds of homes, but more importantly, they're in and out of those homes with clients, potential buyers. And those people are either approving of that property or they're not approving of that property. So the real estate broker gets that feedback, has a pretty good understanding built up over time of what potential buyers are looking for in a home. And so that advice to a prospective seller should be important. So when we talk about the valuation of their property, there's a lot that can be changed to help get a higher value and possibly even allow that property to sell quickly, but it has to do with the utilization of the property and the condition of the property. So those are some conversations, those are some things that I would go over. And I will tell you, me as a broker, and I know a lot of other brokers do the same thing, one of the first things that we do when we meet with prospective sellers is to walk through the property and leave them with a list of some things that would be beneficial if they could address before putting the house on the market. So that is in video 4, preparing to sell your property. And then the fifth and last video is preparing yourself to buy property and how to build your team. Now you might say, well, Mark, what kind of a team do I need? Well, the team exists whether you feel you need it or not, but making that a team effective, I think, is important, and that's what I would probably discuss here. So your team consists of you, the buyer, and your lender and your real estate broker. There are other people involved, but those are the two people. Who's the most important in that? Your lender. I've often said to many prospective buyers that your best friend in the real estate process is your lender. Why? Well, they're the ones that are going to approve you, and they're the ones that are going to give you the money, the financing, to purchase the home that you want. So, knowing how to talk with them, knowing how to communicate with them, finding out what the options are when dealing with a lender is pretty important. A lot of people don't really ask their lender a lot of questions and don't push them and pursue them. Is there negotiation available when you're talking with a lender? Absolutely. Not every lender, but certainly there can be negotiation, and your lender can do a little give and take. So knowing how to do that is important. And of course, the second person on your team is your real estate broker. The first and foremost, what makes an effective relationship between the broker and the client is effective communication. And effective communication really is two-way communication. Communicating with your broker, and your broker communicating with you. There isn't so much negotiation going on with the broker, but making sure that the broker is doing what you want them to do, looking in the right areas, looking for the right types of property, setting up the times appropriate for you, and so on. So having that effective communication and understanding how that should work, one of the first things that we ask is, how do you want me to communicate with you? Do you want me to text you? Do you want me to email you? Do you prefer a phone call? What are the time frames in which I can talk with you? But there are a lot of things that would go into how a broker works with a client to hopefully spend the least amount of time finding the right property and in the right area, and certainly for the right price. And then, of course, being able to advise the real estate broker, as you'll find out from some of these other videos, the real estate broker's value to you as a buyer is to be able to advise you, because they should be knowledgeable in every aspect going through the real estate transaction process, keeping you on target within the time frames, making sure that you understand things you need to respond to and when you need to respond to them, and helping you to negotiate and ask for certain things. And I've often said that real estate is a negotiation from beginning to end, and it certainly can be. So having that team working for you as best they can will not only get you the right property, but get it to you in the time frame that you're hoping to work with. So I hope this was helpful. As I said, so over the course of the next 5 weeks, I'm going to be doing a video each week, either a Friday evening or a Saturday morning, because remember, we are here in this office in Canby every Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And hopefully you'll come by and meet us, sit down. And I had a great couple from out of the area here in the office today, just trying to understand. Tell me about Canby. We're interested in buying something here in Canby. So we spent some time together, and hopefully we'll spend some more time as we move forward. So come in, introduce yourself, tell us what you're interested in doing. Let us tell you how we can help you. If you're a first-time home buyer, definitely want to come in and start asking some questions. There's never any pressure on you to do anything. Our objective is to give you information that is useful to you to meet the goal that you've set for yourself. And hopefully that goal is to buy real estate at either in the near future or down the road. If it's down the road, it's our job along with the lender. And by the way, lenders work with people way in advance of when they're ready to buy something, and you should take advantage of that. But we'll put you together with all the right people to help you put together what you need to do to be able to purchase your first home. So don't be afraid to come in and ask questions, and that's really all it is having a conversation, you asking questions, and us providing you with information and providing you the necessary tools to get what you want. So thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next videos.